The history of humanity is full of archaeological relics that, if they were found, could completely change our conception of reality. The Holy Grail, the Kaye used by Jesus in the last century with his apostles, is an example of that. The destruction of the ark that Noah used to save his family and the species of animals on Earth would also reveal a lot about our past. However, nothing surpasses the Ark of Alliance. The Bayou, built the command of God to be the bridge between the Creator and his chosen people. Because of all this, for everything this object represents and for the power that probably emanated from it, millions of people have already decided and sacrificed their lives to try to find it, but obviously no one has. There are several theories that the Ark would be in an Ethiopic church, submerged in the Sea of Galilee, in some museum in Zimbabwe, or in the foundations of the Mount of the Temple, since the object would have been hidden before the invasion of the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II. But why would God have hidden such a significant object from the zombies? Because it could not be used to keep the connection that already existed between the human and the divine. Let's try to answer these questions, using some common theories that even speak of supposed alien races that tried to steal the Ark of Humanity. The story of the Ark of Alliance has started in the ancient biblical testament, especially in the book of Ezel, which narrates the liberation of the Hebrew people from slavery that they were subjected to in Egypt. At that time, during the pilgrimage to the desert, God tells Moses that he wanted to find it to prepare and sign the alliance that would be established with the people. For this, Moses would have to go up to Mount Sinai and meet God, but this could not be done in any way. Before, it was necessary to purify and wait until God said it was safe. And in fact, it took 3 days until God came under lightning, thunder, and fire, and only then he invited the priest to go up to the summit. In Ezel 19.21, God still made it clear that it was not possible to approach him in any way because it would be dangerous. Yahweh told him, "Go down and warn the people that do not cross the limits to see Yahweh. If the opposite, many of them would die." It is clear that divine power would be very much for a human to stand. Therefore, everyone should follow the risk of their instructions. To affirm the pact, God prepared a stone table in which all the commandments that should be followed were written to preserve the alliance. These tables should be kept in a bow, the bow of the alliance, which should be kept in a very specific place, the tabernacle, where the saints would be. Let's understand this better. Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights together with God, learning everything that would be followed. In this period, he received instructions not only from the laws that should be applied, but also from how to build the place and the objects that would serve to communicate with God himself. As we saw the descent of the Creator in Mount Sinai, it was something powerful, and any human being who was close to this phenomenon would lose his life. And with the alliance established, God would always be present in the life of his people. But as he does not change, we would need to adapt to his reality. Therefore, the instructions for the construction of the arch and the tabernacle were so precise. All the measures, proportions, and materials should be replicated with exactness. Various types of metals, such as gold, wood, such as acacia, and special textures were requested, both to build the arch and the tabernacle. In a simple way, this last one was a kind of mobile temple. Its structure was basically the following. There was a larger space called Atrius. Inside it, a sacrifice altar used to make animal holocausts to purify the sins of the people. Then, a more reserved region, the holy place, made with thick fabrics to prevent the passage of light. And finally, the Holy of Saints, where the Arch of the Alliance was located. This place was only accessed once a year in Yom Kippur, the day of the expiation of sins to the Jews. To fulfill the ritual, the priest, who at the time was Moses, made the sacrifice at the altar. Then he bathed himself, put a special vest used only on this occasion, and adorned it in the Holy of Saints to waste the blood on the arch and meet with God. At that time, he interceded for his people and apologized for the sins committed against the Javes, who broke his alliance. The Arch of the Alliance was once built of wood and wood-wrapped. Above there were two cherubims, as if the angels were responsible for protecting the divine presence. This is the most common representation, and probably you know it here. But there is another theory that the arch would actually be a throne. In this sense, the arch, which is also called the seat of the Misericorde, would be a place that God would literally come to us and sit down to listen to the chastity clamor that he asked for his people. And maybe that explains all the instructions that were provided for him, because that could protect everyone from his eminently powerful presence. And in this hypothesis, the cherubims would not be just above the arch, but supporting the divine throne. The Bible says in several moments of the existence of 4 cherubims, or just one, with 4 faces. The faces of these beings are the face of a man, a lion, an eagle, and a bull. This leads us to believe that the man represents the human kingdom, the lion, the wild animals, the eagle, the halal animals, and the bull, the domestic animals. But this leaves out 2 very important classes, the fish and the rapids. According to this theory, the cherubim that represented these animals was expelled from the paradise because it would be Lucifer, the 5th angel, who would be represented as the throne's encoster in the arch. This explains, in fact, his sin of pride and honor, because being above the others would have done with him to be placed in the place of God, and so he would have been revealed. And speaking of the throne of God, there is another hypothesis that these cherubims would actually be a clue to find the true throne that is in heaven. As you should know, there are constellations that represent the man: Andromeda, the eagle, the lion, and the bull, the Talus. But besides that, there is also the constellation of Draco, which would be the representation of the dragon. And in the center of all of them would be the address to find the Creator, even though he does not reside in this dimension. Regardless of this, the fact is that the arch itself was a very powerful object. So these theories believe that it was indeed a place capable of receiving the presence of God. That is why it would have been built as conductive and insulent materials at the same time to protect those who were around. And there are passages that show how dangerous this object can be if it is not manipulated correctly. The Philistines came to steal it and took it to their country, but coming there, their mere presence destroyed monuments and led diseases to the population. That is why it would have been sent back to Akar of Good, the men who found it already in the camp of the Jews, with the glasses to see the interior, because only the priestess had this right. But at the moment when they encroached their power, they would have been able to defeat at least 50,000 people. This made the Arch of the Alliance not only seen as a devolution object, but as a weapon that fell into the wrong hands could cause serious complications for humanity. This would be the reason why God hit us. This also probably inspired the first film in the Indiana Jones series, when the archaeologist, interpreted by Harrison Ford, fights to discover the lost arch before the soldiers of the Nasus leader found it. But the theories did not stop there. An author named Chris Thomas developed a very complex hypothesis and put it in his book, Velo. In it, Thomas says that humanity was invaded by malignant aliens, the Anunnaki, who wanted to escrow us so that we could extract gold for them. Well, it seems that I've heard this story somewhere else. But to start a war that would lead to many losses, his plan was to alter our past so that we thought that they would be our gods. Then comes the theory of the ancient astronauts. Thomas says that all archaeological artifacts found, for example, among the Sumerians, would have been adult herds for this alien race, so that we thought that they were always here among us. And the author goes even further. He says that the Anunnaki would have made a pact with Creator 2 Illuminati Adam Weishaupt, offering wealth and power to his organization, in case he helped spread this theory, inserting it into books, pieces, music, in short, disseminating it in human culture. But where the Ark of the Alliance enters this story, it happens that, according to Thomas, everything we do in the universe is recorded in a kind of cosmic attack, the Akashic Records. Nothing can change what was written there except the Ark of the Alliance, which is among the most powerful objects ever created. Therefore, even the Anunnaki would be in search of the Ark to eliminate the records of their actions in the past in order to finally be able to take control of humanity, at least differently. Do you agree? What do you think about all these theories? Write it in the comments. See you next time.